It all started off basically when I was at college, and I started hanging around with friends who were in bands, and they were in their first band, and they basically did a load of Beatles covers and that kind of thing. And they didn't like their singer at the time, so I went around their house. They had like a house where they used to rehearse. Went around their house and just for a couple of drinks with them, just as friends are, and then they basically started singing randomly along to the Beatles songs, and they liked me more than their singers. That was quite political at the time, but yeah, that's how I started off basically. And then from there we started doing a few gigs just at schools and stuff like that. And then that was it for a while. Then one day, at my dad's funeral actually, I met up with Paulie.
Went upstairs to the toilet and found out that he liked the same music as me, weirdly enough, because we were not really speaking to each other that much at the time, and saw a few posters on his wall. A couple of weeks later I got a phone call, can you play drums, or do you know anyone who can play drums? At the time I was very, very badly learning to play guitar. Said I can do it, got rid of the guitars, bought a drum kit, and started from there really. I think 4 months after that we were on stage and I couldn't even play the drums properly, but more chance you have a break the habit of a lifetime.
I mean, I got into music, it was for me, like back when I was 17, 18, the biggest band around for that time was Oasis for me. Not everyone's favourite, but I don't know, for me they were huge. They took over the country at the time, you know what I mean? The way people dressed, the music they played, you know, it's pretty cool. More specifically, Noel Gallagher. I'd seen a live video of Oasis, watching Noel. It broke down at one point to just him and an acoustic guitar. I think it seemed more attainable, you know what I mean? Just seeing one man, a guitar, singing and playing songs that he'd written himself, kind of captured my attention. It kind of captivated me and made me feel like that's something that I could do. Obviously then you progress, you know, with friends around that into similar music. I started to like diverse into the alternative scene with the bands of like, you know, Nirvana and Bush, 9 Inch Nails. Something about the energy of those bands, like I got pushed more towards that. So the first band I was in, it was against sixth form, 2 of my closest friends. Just knocking around within in the sixth form there was a room that we could use. Eventually got turned into toilets, much to our disappointment. Not saying we were shit or anything, but no, that's where we kind of found our feet, learning our instruments, playing music, mostly those covers of bands that we loved. So that's where it all developed from me. You learn your trade, learn your instrument, you progress from there, you start getting better and better at what you do. Move on to bigger and better things really. That started out, it was supposed to be just a little jam really. But I think I got a friend, again from our sixth form days, it was a year or so above us, Matty Ingram. Come round to jam one night. Supposed to be helping him out, just put some guitar to some things that he'd done, bits of bass lines. I think it just progressed to the rehearsal room where we got in touch with Paulie.
I'd kind of given up on the drums at one point. I've been in a couple of bands, probably 3 or 4 bands. Nothing was really happening. Every time we seemed to get any momentum going, the band would somehow self-destruct. The old cliched musical differences. I don't like him, he's a wanker, blah 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 blah. And the band's just stopped. I had my drums just sitting there. I was getting quite annoyed at the fact that they were just sitting there, seeing them every day, not playing them. Sold the drum kit, and I got a message off Matty Ingram saying he's going to do some stuff. Would I be interested in playing drums for him? So that's how it all started again. Million Empire was only ever supposed to be just jamming in a practice room. There was never any gigs supposed to happen. And a couple of our mates, Dave and Kerry, came and watched us at practice one time. Long story short, they said you can't just leave this in the practice room, it's too good, you need to go out and practice, you need to go out and gig it. People want to see, you know, they're going to want to hear and see this. So next thing you know, we've got a gig booked and we're playing.
It soon became apparent after, you know, you write a song, you hear a song, then you soon realise that we could take this further. It's actually pretty good, it's pretty decent. And that progressed. Once we'd done that first show, I think we knew from there on it was like, no, this is something a bit more than just your average band, you know what I mean? We felt pretty confident in what we were doing, and we took it on from there. It's kind of like that realisation, you know, especially when you haven't, I don't know, the first times that you play those gigs, I don't know, it's of course it's exciting, you know. Especially when you get the reaction from what you've done. If you feel a bit justified of knowing that it's not just you in a rehearsal room writing these songs, thinking they're good. You feel like you're confident about them. But once you get that reaction back, it makes you give a bit more self-belief in what you're doing. So again, it helped us carry on.
We had the ball rolling quite well. We were doing some good shows, getting higher profile shows, getting reviewers message us to come and review us, and all the rest of it.
I felt my bones break when you showed your flaws. It's a hunger that separates your jaws. 'Cause I'll get up, 'cause I'm the lion tamer. Won't give up, 'cause I'm the lion tamer.
The band splitting up, it's a tough one. It felt like, I don't know what happened, it just felt like we hit a bit of a brick wall with the band at the time. I don't think anyone in the band was feeling very positive about things. I don't know if there's anything particularly we were doing wrong or anything different. Sometimes life just gets in the way. Sometimes you've got a lot of things on your plate, personal things that you're all dealing with. And it's tough to juggle things sometimes, and unfortunately sometimes the things that you love most end up getting sacrificed, or you have to step away from it for a while to realise that it's something you need to keep doing.
I think the problem with bands, we've all got full-time jobs, and a lot of the time that gets in the way. That's why being in a band is a young person's game, really, because you haven't got so much commitments. You're only bothered really about hanging about with your mates and going socialising and stuff like that. So when you're younger, it's an ideal thing to do. But when you're older and you've got jobs, kids, family, mortgages, bills to pay, that kind of thing can sometimes get in the way, and I think that's what happened, really.
I think Wes just got tired of the pressure of it not being able to enjoy it as much. It felt like it was a monotony, kind of like quite a chore to him. As it does, it's a hard life being in a band, especially when you're a band like us. You don't get paid a fat lot of money for it. Sometimes you could be playing to 3 people, other times 50, 100, 200 people. Just depends on the gig. It's difficult to commit to a band when you've got families and work, and I think it just got too much for him. I think he needed the 18 months break to realise that being in a band wasn't the thing that was causing him stress, it was his getaway. And the getaway, once that's gone, once you haven't got nothing to focus your negative stuff onto and kind of concentrate on, there's nothing. You're literally just brooding all the time.
We've all got so much going on in our lives, and basically put so much into gigs and rehearsing and stuff like that sometimes it kind of just comes to a head and has to stop before we all kind of kill each other sometimes. So I think that's what happened basically. No, we didn't really fall out or anything, but I just think it was kind of time. Wes kind of was the person that kind of brought it up, and then I think we all no one really fought for it, so that's kind of how it ended, really.